Welcome back. You're watching Morning Live. It's time now to focus in on sports and the Telkom Knockout final that takes place this evening in Pacific. Mamelodi Sundowns and Kaizer Chiefs will face off in the final at the Moses Mabhida Stadium in Durban this evening. The Brazilians have all the odds stacked against them, having lost all 8 previous cup finals they contested against Chiefs. We're now joined by soccer analyst Coudjoe Amankwaa. A very good morning and welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. So Chiefs have a long-standing dominance when it comes to facing off with Sundowns in cup competitions. Can they do it again today?
No doubt about that. Chiefs are a cup specialist. Everybody knows that. But the circumstances are a bit different because now they are coached by Coach Steve Komphela. And it comes with his own dynamics. He has not won a trophy as a player and as a coach. And that's very odd against them, against the backdrop that they were in the finals 3 months ago against Ajax, and they lost. I think Sundowns could fancy their chances of maybe sneaking this one. There's always a first time in football because stars are like a bikini. They give you an indication, they don't give you the whole story.
Okay. I want to speak a little bit about the psyche of the Kaizer Chiefs players, because that MTN 8 final against Ajax Cape Town and the defeat there was to many a little bit of a surprise. I mean, Chiefs were expected just to go in and win that clash, and then they didn't. What kind of effect will that have on the players' psyche going into this match?
That is the beauty of football. You never have a crystal ball to predict the outcome until the games are played. Chiefs went into that final against Ajax as a hot favorite, everybody thinking they were going to walk it. At the end of regulation time, it was a different ball game. And I can tell you what, I think now the players are a bit in a panic mode. The question is, can we do it? And they are up not against any average team. They are up against Sundowns that have potency in terms of midfield moving forward, and that could be very problematic. You look at the Chiefs team that hasn't really shown a lot of... They haven't shown what I'll call a defensive acumen, because if you look at the central pairing, since Stuart Baxter left and since Tefo Mashemaite left, the central pairing have been problematic. They have had a number of players coming in. They have got Gardino coming in. They've got Bukenya coming in. They've got Siandra Tulu coming in. They've got Matoho, and it hasn't worked. And as to how they're going to deal with it, you are up against a Sundowns team where you have the likes of Kamabiliat, you have the likes of the captain for National Under 23, Keegan Dolly, you have the like of Zungu. They are very nippy, they are very slippery, they can score from any angle, and then when they move forward, they look very good. And I think that could give Chiefs a bit of a sleepless night. Yes, Chiefs goes into the game as cup specialist, but that is just a tag, that is just a name. On the regulation time, what happens on the field of play, in terms of the team that wants to win it most, these coaches are friends, and they are all local coaches, but one will, at the end of the day, by virtue of the fact that it's a cup final, they've got to be results. And I guess after regulation time, one of the team is going to shed tears.
You mentioned momentum and you mentioned form. If we look at the form of these two teams, Kaizer Chiefs, their last 3 fixtures when it comes to PSL, the stats read 1 draw, 1 win, 1 loss. However, Mamelodi Sundowns, they've won their last 6 PSL matches. And you mentioned that young man, Keegan Dolly, who's just guided his team to the Rio Olympics and gotten them a ticket with a bronze medal at the Under-23 Africa Cup of Nations. I mean, is it that different? Because often when we speak about cup finals, we always say cup competitions are completely different from games where you're building on momentum. But surely with the momentum that Sundowns has, you'd favour them.
Definitely, and in this very tournament, Sundowns have scored more goals than Chiefs. At a point in time, they beat one team 6-1. And they won 3-0, and they come into this game with a lot of momentum. Maybe what is in Chiefs' favor is the fact that there was a break by virtue of the 8 Nations tournament in Senegal, and therefore the teams slow down. Nobody have played, and probably indications are Sundowns can come into the game very rusty. But in terms of momentum coming into this game, I can tell you Sundowns could fancy their chances, and in every 1,000 miles there's always the first step, and perhaps this could be the first step towards Sundowns turning the tide. Because as you've rightly pointed out on top of the show, 8 cup games and Sundowns haven't recorded anything. And by that time, there were different coaches and different players. This time around is different coaches, and it's local coaches who are coming with different mentality and different approaches to the game. I can see that there's going to be maybe quite a number of goals, because with local coaches, they don't restrict the players. They allow you to express yourself. Unlike foreign coaches who are scared to lose their job, and therefore sometimes you don't have to show your skills, you just have to play according to instructions and pattern. And I guess it's going to be very, very interesting, because for me, something must give. But there's no doubt that Chiefs must rely very much on their cup pedigree to outfox and outwit their opponents, Sundowns. But Sundowns will go in there with a mentality that we've got good momentum coming into this game. Let's carry it on. And I guess experience versus youth exuberance. It depends on who wants it the most. And I can tell you, if the president of Sundowns, Patrice Motsepe, have promised the players go and win and share it for Christmas bonus, then I can see fireworks when they troop onto the field this evening.
What kind of approach will Steve Komphela bring into the game? Because from Mamelodi Sundowns side, they have been winning. They know how to win games. The momentum is all on their side. However, not quite so with Kaizer Chiefs. What will be Komphela's thinking coming into this match?
Very simple. Komphela's approach is a cup game, keep a clean slate, and half of the job is done. So defensively, he's got to work on that. He's got to keep it very tight and ensure that the central pairing, whoever he brings, they understand themselves in an attempt not to give the nippy Sundowns players a chance to win. For me, key for Kaizer Chiefs today will be a player called Willard Kasande. He is a player who makes Kaizer Chiefs tick. He's a player who ensures that Kaizer Chiefs played from the back into the middle and up front, because he breaks all the opposition's move. And if that young man from Zimbabwe, who is the captain of the Zimbabwe national team, can bring his A game, half of the job will be done. Whereas if you look at Sundowns, Klompo Kikana will be key, because he's the grafter who is also going to make it difficult for the likes of Abro, for the likes of Spiwe Shabalala and Yayeli Solenyana, of course, young extreme, not to play. And if these two players come into the game with a proper mentality and a mindset and have a very a game, a quality game, then we are going to see a game of chess, because nobody wants to concede a goal. And in a cup game, if you don't concede a goal, half of the job is done. So for Komphela, defensively, he needs to make sure that he makes it tight, and he needs to make sure that the telepathy is okay. I don't know who is going to put between Kune, because he was injured, and of course the young brilliant Coudjoe, because Coudjoe for me has been a talisman of Kaizer Chiefs. In a cup game, when he's in on the goal, or in a derby when he's in the post, it's very difficult to score against him, because he comes with his A game. I'm not very sure whether he's going to go with his experienced player Kune, or he's going to come with a young and exuberant, brilliant Coudjoe in the post.
Will Coudjoe be able to handle a big match like this, though?
Coudjoe played against Orlando Pirates. That was a derby. That is the biggest game on the calendar in the South African sporting of soccer fraternity. And at the end of the game, it was him who ensured that they got into this point. Orlando Pirates could not beat Chiefs, when earlier they have actually beaten them 3-1 in a league game.
Okay, Coudjoe, I know you don't like this crystal ball thing. You say that in football you don't have a crystal ball, but you can have a crystal ball as Mr. Coudjoe Amankwaa. What in your crystal ball do you see the scoreline to be today?
It's going to be very tight. It can go into penalty. You know, I'll tell you what. My heart is with Kaizer Chiefs for various reasons. And the reasons are very, very sentimental, because this is Steve Komphela, a coach that have done so well. A coach that took the national under-23 but failed to qualify for Olympics. But in the end, the remnants of what he did was the current Bafana squad we've got today. So even though he didn't qualify for the Olympics, he ensured that he created players that have taken Bafana to another level. And for me, the fact that Komphela have not won a trophy as a player and as a coach, something in me says Kaizer Chiefs must win this evening, at least to exorcise the ghost or the bitter cloud hanging on Komphela having not won anything. Piso Musimani have won a number of things. He have won the league with Sundowns. And for me, I believe God loves us all. So Compeller must win something this evening so that the fans can stop troubling him and always stop pointing fingers that you haven't won anything.
I haven't got a scoreline from you.
I'm thinking probably Kaizer Chiefs are going to win by 2-1 by regulation time.
By regulation time?
Yes.
So it's not going to go into penalties?
No.
That's Coudjoe Amankwaa, soccer analyst. Thank you very much for coming into the studio to chat to us. All will be revealed come 6 o'clock tonight from the Moses Mabhida Stadium. That's when the Telkom Knockout Cup final will be taking place. It's Kaizer Chiefs up against Mamelodi Sundowns. It's now 7:30. Let's get your headline news.